walked away from the Grand Fiesta Tour. We'll see you eventually. Man, those crowds. It's my first day back at Walt Disney World at the Food and Wine Festival. Let's check it out. Look at the parking lot, how they're filling the parking lot here at Epcot. You can see they've distanced the cars, social distancing of vehicles as well. One empty row between each set of vehicles. And apparently they'll come back and fill those rows a little bit later, kind of in between sections, so everyone can get out with some distance. I love that idea. Stepping in line to make our way to check-in, temperature check, and into the park for food and wine. So I just walked through security and temperature check screening, and this is a little much for me. I'm not gonna lie. I know it doesn't seem terribly crowded behind me right now, but it was quite the crowds through security and through temperature checks. Now it is pretty close to park opening, so maybe those lines were impacting, but it was really challenging to keep 6 feet right as you enter through security. Just something to note. Here is the park entrance, making our way inside. You can see plenty of friends around taking photos and otherwise. I'm gonna scan my band right here. Now inside of the park, you can see the globe is still there. It's nice to see and nice to be back, but a little populated in my opinion. Now Mike, I know I'm just joining you and you've been out for a few weeks. Is this a lot more people than you're used to seeing?
Definitely is. There's definitely a significant increase in the number of people here. I saw that at Magic Kingdom as well, so I would imagine this is probably another phase of the opening here at Disney, where they just increase the total number of people who have park reservations.
That makes sense. How many times more people, or what percent more people do you think we have here?
Just given where we are, just this front area here, I would say at least double. And as we go through, I'll probably increase that a little bit, but from what I've seen here, definitely double, because in the past it would be like nobody. Like you look over here and there'd be like nobody.
One thing I like to see though is new entrances, so people can kind of distance as they're walking here. Depends which way you want to go. So Mike, today is the first day you're seeing the crowds. What did it look like before?
It looked like this. It looked like this everywhere, or it was just like, or this way too. It was like very, very empty all the time. So there's been an increase.
And I would love to see that totally open area to be able to enjoy. I'm not sure I can see myself coming out a whole lot of days, or any other days really, if it looks like that entrance area by security. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll end up being a little bit easier. Maybe security is the craziest part, so to be determined. This area is nice to see, nice and empty, not too many people hanging out. I imagine this is what Mike was referring to with this kind of wide open space, so we'll hope that it's all like this, but TBD. We're discussing the first stop being some of those food items at Food and Wine. I think that'd be a pretty good judge of how crowded it is here today. I've got to say, this area looks pretty good too. You know, I'm hopeful that it was just security area, but we'll find out as we continue to make our way. There's a few tables out for social distancing, food and wine. And again, the crowds are not as bad as the entrance area. A few groups here and there, which makes it challenging to keep 6 feet. But overall, much better than that security area. I almost turned around by security. A little bit more crowded as we step into food and wine, but doesn't seem too bad. We'll see. Nice to see some colorful flowers here as well as we enter the food and wine section of the world. Hawaii booth is still here, always a favorite for me, and I heard they still have that pork slider, but they've also set up some other places like a Starbucks here. That's very interesting. Here's this pop-up Starbucks style here, very interesting. Hadn't seen that before. And a couple of other new venues like the Citrus Blossom. You can see Orange Bird is stationed right in front of the Citrus Blossom. I think this is a temporary replacement of the other Starbucks since they closed that while they're doing construction, but who knows? It actually looks like it's built to stay there. Maybe they're gonna put some other building with that same kind of woody design. There are glass panels in front of those checkout booths to keep some distance, keep some proximity by Canada here. You can see a lot of those old favorites, and some crowds here and there can be a little bit tricky, but generally not too crazy. Now stepping into World Showplace Pavilion, a bit behind the scenes. We've seen a bit in here for some of those media events, but now it's open to the public for some food. And nice to see kind of the path they've designed here for us to enjoy it. World Showplace still as decorative as it was. See those glass chandeliers hanging down? Lots of places to grab food along the way. Excited to give it a shot. Just now noticing the reflection of these lights, creating those classic Disney logos with lighting as well as kind of a Frozen feel. I like it. And the welcome light here as well. I love how they've built these lights to decorate the venue as we step inside. I do love the feel and the aesthetic of the World Showplace, including and not limited to the soft music, the theming of all of the different dining spots. They tell you mac and cheese way back there, desserts and champagne, you've got festival favorites. So I love the layout, the quiet, subtle, formal feel. It's not too formal of a feel, but a very fancy yet casual feel. Mike recommends one of his favorites here. It's the cake pops. He's saying those M&M cake pops are his favorite, but they do a variety of cake pop flavors, Twix and original, and all kinds of other great options. Of course, there are drinks available at Food and Wine. You can see the digital guidebook. So much to see, but that one is probably one we'll have to try here at some point today. Looks like some great options here as well. Frozen apple pie, non-alcoholic, I'm imagining is a beverage. You've got your caramel apple popcorn and this raspberry lemonade hard cider if you're looking for something kind of delicious but also alcoholic maybe. Haven't tried it, so don't know if it's delicious, but it sounds good. Sounds like my sort of flavors. We're starting it off with another Mike recommendation. How good is this one, Mike?
So I've only had the gourmet mac and cheese so far, but I've heard nothing but good things about buffalo chicken and lobster, so I'm ready. This was so good.
All right, all of them look fantastic. Gourmet mac and cheese, buffalo chicken mac and cheese, lobster mac and cheese, vegan mac and cheese. Seems like, is that vegan or vegetarian? Sounds somewhere between the two. I want to call it vegetarian plus. But either way, you've got a variety of great options there. Enjoy. Here we have the buffalo chicken mac and cheese and the lobster mac and cheese. Take a good close look there at all the angles. Yes, you've got kind of sauce with the lobster, a little bit of maybe cilantro or parsley. And this one's got some other kind of green vegetable with your buffalo flavoring your chicken. It looks like maybe some veggies in there. Looks delicious. While we're eating, it's definitely getting slightly more crowded back here in the World Showplace. So we'll see how the day plays out. The mac and cheese was not bad. I didn't love either one, and I've had some amazing items at the Food and Wine Festival before, so these don't rank for me compared to those. That being said, I could see myself getting them again if I was really in the mood for a buffalo chicken or for a lobster type item. Overall, maybe a 6.5 for the lobster and the buffalo chicken. I personally preferred the flavor of the buffalo chicken, but I like seafood, so you can go either way. Mike, your thoughts?
The mac and cheese was pretty good. I did like it a lot. Lobster I liked more than the buffalo chicken, in my opinion. Gourmet was better than either of them, in my opinion, mac and cheese wise. So I liked it. Not my all-time favorite, not the best of the festival yet, but we're getting there.
So it sounds like I may have not tried the best flavor of mac and cheese, but that's okay. There's plenty more to try. Cake pops from the Food and Wine Festival. Look at this M&M flavored, and in addition, Mike has got a classic cake pop. Looking forward to trying these and seeing how they taste. Just finished that cake pop extreme chocolatey. If you really like milk chocolate layering your cake pop, really heavy duty melted chocolate, you might like this. That being said, one change I'd love to see is more flavors in the future. I feel like they did this one quite well, but you got a really heavy duty love chocolate because it's chocolate on chocolate. Overall, maybe 8.5 out of 10, and you know I'm tough on my desserts, so I gotta give that one some credit. It's not a night blossom, but it is very good. Mikey, your thoughts?
I absolutely love those cake pops from Desserts and Champagne here inside World Showplace. I think the M&M's the best. That's me, I think M&M's the best, but any of them you can't really go wrong. Just kind of depends on you. Yes, thumbs up from me. Second best dessert in my opinion at Food and Wine Festival 2020.
What's number one?
You're gonna have to find out.
So now we're gonna get some water for all that sugar we had and maybe run a mile or two, and then we'll have more food. And here are the crowds as we make our way out. It's gotten more full than when we came in. As we get later into the day, around lunchtime of course, people are enjoying some delicious food. Walking through the streets of World Showcase now, you can see these crowds on the streets definitely picking up, starting to look more like security. I don't know here. I don't know how long this party's gonna last for me. Now at Starbucks, this is their menu. You can see some new beverages, which aren't too familiar, and some old favorites as well. Nice to see some of the options as we are at this kind of pop-up Starbucks. I've got to say the crowd feeling here is definitely putting some pressure on me here. I don't feel extremely comfortable in certain zones where everyone kind of converges. Don't really feel like I have my 6 feet at times. You can see the line for the Mexico Pavilion here On our right, that pork tostada or ribeye taco must be delicious. Nice to see one of our favorite types of cuisine. I do enjoy it. And you can see the areas are getting, again, more and more crowded, depending upon where you stand. Definitely packed out here. Seems like the countries themselves have far more people than kind of the walkways between. Does make some sense, but is what it is. The line for Frozen goes all the way back here as well. That bottom, yep, right around there-ish. Quite a line for Frozen here. You can see plenty of parties lined up to enjoy it. There's some distancing, but I feel like there could be more. The menu here at China, you've got chicken dumplings and the bao bun in addition to those beverages. Now catching the Frozen mini parade here. Let's see those characters walk by. Nice to see Elsa making her way down here, waving to friends along the way. We've got Anna here as well in the carriage. Look at that. Awesome, love to see it. And Anna and Elsa are not alone. No, there's a group kind of following them down the walkway here. So if you kind of see one of those parades going by, you may want to consider potential groups following. Hang back while that happens. Now stepping into the unknown crowds here in Germany. A lot of these menus do look very similar to last year, so nice to see a lot of stuff we've enjoyed in the past at Germany. Here at the Japan Pavilion, a couple of familiar items like that frothy ramen and a couple of new items. I heard a sushi flower pot is not bad, but interesting to see what they have here this year. Walking through France, we're going to make our way to the Riviera. You can see crowds here are not too bad, but I figured it might be nice to see those gondolas and take a ride. I'm noticing more and more bee merch here for that bee. I already forgot what his name is, but this bee I think maybe goes with Orange Bird. Clearly some interactivity with Donald there. Nice to see his merch. Stepping out of Epcot for some gondola time. You can see it seems a lot less crowded on this side of the park, which is nice. We'll probably make our way back in a bit. And here are those gondolas going by overhead. Let's get a ride. Very little line for the gondolas as well, which is fantastic to see. And I hear we get our own as we make our way to a totally open line. Hey, good, how are you?
Hi, just the two of you?
Two of us, yes. Yay. Oh, clear one?
All right, ready, just that one.
Awesome.
Watch your step.
Thank you.
Enjoy your flight, guys.
Thank you.
Epcot International Gateway. We're flying to Disney's Riviera Resort with a final stop at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. We hope you enjoyed your visit to Epcot and World Showcase. Did you learn how to say hello in a different language today?
Now flying over the New France section with Remy's attraction. Beautiful views all around, and it is much cooler up here as we're flying. So the breeze coming in really does help, and we're heading over to the Riviera to grab some drinks, sit back, relax, and then we'll probably be back to the parks later today. Back in the Riviera Resort, we heard a party behind us was just riding around on the gondolas because it is so much cooler, but it is quite nice in this covered area here, and you can see the crowds are far more quiet as well. So could be a great place to drop in for some dining, for a midday break from those crowds or otherwise. I've never noticed the movie posters here at the Riviera are in some other languages. Italian, perhaps. Alla Riviera di Dori, right there perhaps. It's also much cooler in the Riviera. Here I have the Sprite Zero Cherry. Excited to try this one, I'll let you know what we think. So the Sprite was not bad, but this is Minute Maid Light Peach. And I do like my juices, something a little bit more mild than soda. I think this is a good flavor, but there's limited options at the Riviera in terms of the drink flavors, but I think this is a decent one. We were thinking about taking some Skyliner rides next, but now there's some thunder, so sitting back for a bit and more drinks. Here I have pink lemonade and server advised a little bit of peach lemonade. Let's try them both. A variety of snacks here at the coffee shop in the Riviera. You can see a variety of delicious items from the chocolatey one to the seasonal cupcake, lemon cheesecake, all kinds of great stuff. Spending some time enjoying the halls of the Riviera as we wait for those gondolas to reopen. You can see the lights, you can see the carpets, all kinds of beautiful decoration. I like these lights in the center area here. So much to see and appreciate. And look at these wall decals. Now grabbing a seat in the book room while Mike grabs himself a coffee, a blood orange white chocolate mocha. Should be interesting. Here's Mike's blood orange white mocha. Let's see what he thinks. I tried a bit of Mike's beverage as well, and we both think it's a little bit too syrupy, not too flavorful. It, again, seems kind of thick for a coffee beverage, so don't recommend this one, but to each their own. Mike, what do you think of this beverage?
It's interesting. It's interesting. There's very little flavor. It's so much flavor that it almost tastes like nothing. I've never had anything quite like this where it's like, I know there's white chocolate in there. I know there's blood orange in there, but I can't taste any of that. So can't recommend this one.
I really do love this outdoor view at the Riviera, one of my favorite resorts for enjoying these outdoor views. And this may be why you see us here so often. There's really beautiful sights. Love how it's on the lake, all the natural greenery, of course the pools. A great place to spend some time. As we've been enjoying some relaxing time here at the Riviera Resort, I really do hesitate to go back to the parks, at least for full day adventures, based on the current climate and how crowded those parks were. I know it was on the less crowded side a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, I didn't check any of that out. But to me, right now, it seems a little bit more busy than I might expect. So we'll see if any more full day adventures happen to the parks, or if any more adventures to the parks happen here in 2020 based on the health climate. The resorts, on the other hand, I do feel pretty comfortable right now enjoying some dining, and maybe the parks would be okay in the evenings and otherwise, but the parks can be quite busy, especially midday. And I've heard Epcot is one of the least busy of all of them, so again, makes me worry. We discussed returning to Epcot, and I would be open to returning to Epcot tonight, hoping the crowds are a bit lower for dinner time so we can enjoy some food and wine festival. But the gondolas are currently closed, and if we take the bus, we'll be back at that front entrance, that main entrance that seemed a lot busier to me than the gondola side. So I'm thinking we'll wait it out. Hopefully we'll be able to catch the gondolas back that less busy side of the park and see how things play out. But again, it makes me really concerned about if I'm gonna have any more theme park days in 2020. But there's so much to enjoy at the resorts, from delicious dining to sights and so much more. Now heading to the bus depot to make our way back to the parks. We'll see how it goes. Look at the Guardians of the Galaxy style here, in addition to that purple bus back there. All kinds of beautiful designs. Getting on our Pandora bus now. Take a look at the walls. In addition to that number system here on the bus, you see a variety of infrastructure to support distancing, including these walls. A closer look at this Pandora bus. Really cool to see all the details here. And we'll see how crowded the park entrance is. Round 2 of the security crowds later in the evening. Let's see if I'll come back to the theme parks at all, or if maybe the evenings would work out for me. Much better in the evening here in terms of the check-in and thermometers. Let's see how it is inside. So round 2 of security was a thumbs up. I'm gonna give it to Mike. No real lines here, no traffic, but the morning was bumpy. So we'll see how crowded it is in the park. This is your redemption round, Mike. Redemption for me to come back to the parks.
Yes.
Not for full days.
Afternoon.
But for late evenings, afternoons, at post 5.
4.
Post, what?
It's 4:30.
4:30, which is past 5.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. 4 on the button might be crazy busy. Looks a lot lighter here in the entranceway at 5 p.m.-ish, but we'll see how it is inside. Maybe the last time I'll ever ride Spaceship Earth. We're gonna miss it, but we're gonna step inside here today and enjoy it. Or maybe it'll be staying longer than anticipated based on the current climate. We'll see. Here it is, the Spaceship Earth entrance. Not bad. There's distancing. Gotta make sure we're watching those lines though. Now on our way into the past and maybe a little bit of the future, into space.
What if everyone could have one of these amazing machines in their own house? Welcome to the future. Or should I say, your
I have
future.
you.
Really?
Yeah. You have me?
Here in your future.
I have your story too.
Really? Verbally, I'm hearing yours. I'm seeing, or no, I'm hearing mine. I'm seeing yours. Mike and I received each other's stories and pictures, which was very interesting in there. Also, look at this lobby area. It's so dark. It's empty. Test track is not open due to rain, but we're making our way back to the World Showcase for some food and see what else is out there. A lot of people interested in re-riding Test Track when it opens back up, but it's also a good place to hide from the rain. There are a couple of paths as well where it's tricky to find 6 feet. This is one of those walkways where as long as people are heading in 2 directions, you can't quite find your 6 feet. You see, people are also ducked under cover in front of some of these buildings from the rain. It is quite rainy still. This pavilion is still here showing us the future of Epcot, but some of it is not around anymore. Some crowds still here in these pavilions, like Mexico here. I don't know, Mike. This looks more busy than the rest of the park.
You call this crowds?
We'll see here. Walking through the Mexico area here, this seems just as crowded as this morning, but again, really depends on the region, the area in the park in which you're walking. Security is less, but inside the park, I'm not so sure. So we're back here now. You can see the crowds by Frozen, people walking by. So it's nice to take this kind of quieter route by the water, but definitely a lot of people still ready for that attraction. Line starts here for Frozen Ever After. You've got to give them credit. They did continue with those social distancing lines, but my thing is, if people are both in front and behind the lines, is that still really 6 feet? I do have to give some parts of the park some credit. Very empty parts of the park here in the evening, which is nice to see, like Japan, as we're making our way through towards France in the distance. Mike says the best food's at France. The France menu, I've heard, is one of the best here. Let's see how it goes. A bit of a closer look at that menu. The duck confit there, number 2, and your brioche bun, number 3, I've heard are some of the best at Food and Wine. Let's try. And here is our duck confit, as well as our brioche bun here. Beautifully done with the jams there, little circles, and the duck with what looks like maybe potato underneath it. We'll see. I thought the duck confit was pretty good. It had some nice flavors to it, but didn't blow me away quite as much as some of my favorites last year, whereas that brioche bun was fantastic. My favorite dessert this Food and Wine Festival, at least. Mike, your thoughts on both items?
Love them both. Absolutely love them both. Some of my favorites here at Food and Wine Festival. I'm starting to lean more towards the brioche bun than the duck, even though the duck is absolutely amazing. Brioche bun, oh my gosh.
And for me, it's a good bit with the brioche bun in the lead. I want to give the brioche bun maybe like a 9, whereas the duck gets maybe a 7.5. But now they're all gone. Now walking the bridge to England, and then we'll make our way to maybe have some food at Mexico or the Caribbean. So much to see and do. Looping back around by Starbucks and Hawaii as we make our way to Mexico. Let's get more water. Islands of the Caribbean, trying maybe that empanada and maybe the flan. Here we have the empanada with kind of an orangey sauce on there, and the flan right there. Something was telling me the empanada was something else, like that cheesy pancake. I forgot what that's called. But empanadas are great too, so let's try them both. The empanada was good, but it wasn't the best empanada I've ever had. I want to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Good flavors, good protein option, but not number 1. The flan, on the other hand, was amazing. Fantastic flavors on that one, giving this another 9 ranking for a dessert. So the desserts have really won the day here. Flan versus the brioche bun, it really depends what you like. You've got a lot of cake style with kind of that gelatin, light gelatin flavor. Not too sweet or sugary on this flan here either, with a little bit of coconut flavor in there. Fantastic blend of flavors. Your thoughts on the both of them?
I like them. I really do. The empanada's not one I would go out of my way for, but the flan definitely is. Totally agree with you there. Passion fruit with coconut. You think to yourself, does that go together? Does that work? It definitely does. I'd get that one again.
Ribeye taco from Mexico. Let's see how it tastes. Does look fantastic. The taco presents a nice idea, but a little bit more flavor on execution and a little bit softer taco would be nice. I want to give this one like a 7. Your thoughts on the taco, Mike?
I like it, but it's not my favorite. It's not something I'd go out of my way for, probably get again, because, I don't know, somehow it's missing a flavor of the ribeye. Like, you taste the ribeye, it's good. It's not fantastic, though.
So, not our favorite item, but not bad. More likely to get something else, but we'll have to keep trying in the future if I come back to the parks. Or next year. Now off to the Mexico Pavilion to ride that attraction. I love the Grand Fiesta Tour, and maybe check out some other rides. I think Test Track has reopened tonight, and the lines are short, which is nice. In terms of my coming back to the parks this year, I'd be very hesitant to come back to the parks during the daytime. I feel like the evening has been nice, so I could see myself coming to the parks at night, but I don't know about coming back to the parks for a full day, even here in 2020. Unless, of course, the current climate changes and everyone is safe, because safety is really my number 1 concern. And as much as I do enjoy the parks, safety comes first for me, and some small step towards safety seems like a significant enough step to take away and not do all that park time. I also feel a little bit uncomfortable trying to dodge and avoid people, but to each their own. See, this is the time to come to the park for me when it's nice and quiet. So since I have the opportunity, since I have the choice, I'm thinking it'll probably be only an evening festivity for me. We'll see. Stepping into the Mexico Pavilion, I forgot there's only kind of one entrance. And we see people going in and out. But I think we found our spot here. Here is the Mexico Pavilion. Lots of people hanging out. I'm thinking maybe we'll come back for this ride. It'll still be here. This is be tough to navigate through, and it's a little narrow for me. Walked away from the Grand Fiesta Tour. We'll see you eventually. Man, those crowds. Again, not even as bad on the streets as it was in there, really. Now back at Test Track. Gonna make our way into that queue so we can ride one of our old favorites. Stepping through the line with those line markers to make our way inside. A socially distanced line with walls I can appreciate as we make our way to our spot. It is full of some people. I think they said 15-minute wait or so. And look at these cars in the lobby at the same time. No opportunity to design your own car, but these screens are displaying some pretty cool images. You can see the cars on display. Maybe others have made in the past as we envision what our cars might look like. Look at this design here. Not only is the language in Spanish, but it's just a really cool looking car as we make our way forward. And look at this taxi bus looking thing. Nice. Getting ready to board our vessel. Looks like we'll get our own car, which is nice. Here's the line, almost there. Some spacing going on, and we'll be on our way. And we're off.
Hello. The seatbelt check is around the corner.
None of this fun exit activity here either, but always a fun ride here at Test Track. And I've designed this vehicle, and now I get to keep it. Wait a sec. The mini games are closed, but the ride is open, and you'll see there are still cars in the lobby. So you can take your photos with these cars, but not with the virtual backgrounds, I think. Maybe just manual photos if you want them. I've never noticed this kids' play area. Maybe new. Very cool to see. Lots of Toy Story theming in there, as well as these flowers. It's like a garden, a flowering garden. Green Landing Family Play Zone, nice to see. Heading downstairs in the Land Pavilion, maybe to go on Living with the Land, or maybe to see what the line looks like for Soarin. Now Living with the Land. All kinds of plants and fruits out here, including dragon fruit on our right for starters. I can see what looks like maybe the Java apples back there. Never seen those before. Fluted pumpkins here on the right. Don't forget the banana up here. They're little ones, still early in their growth, but nice to see. We got freshwater shrimp, tilapia, more tilapia, and more freshwater shrimp in these tanks. I like it. There's cotton here on our right. Cotton plants, very interesting style to those here. So not just food and other plants, but also materials. Here's passion fruit on our right. Look at that, very interesting styling. How it hangs from the tree here, from the bushes, on those, I don't know, metal holsters. Look at the Mickey-shaped lettuce here, purple lettuce in the middle, and the green on the outside, and further back, the green in the middle, and the purple on the outside. Double Mickey. Really interesting Cinderella pumpkins right there. Look at those huge pumpkins. And here's our vertical growing system here on the right. Everything from rosemary to basil, all kinds of plants growing vertically and rotating around this machine. We've got squash here. Look at this squash, orange squash growing on these plants. A very interesting design, hanging from those hangers above, making their way down. With 45 minutes left in the night, Soarin is a 15-minute wait. Let's check this one out. It's been too long. Almost in the final stretch here on the way to the ride. No line so far, which is nice. Walking on through. This is where we're stopped waiting probably for the next ride to land. But it looks like there is actually no line. It was just straight walk on. plus waiting for the other parties to finish their ride. Now waiting for our vehicles for Soarin'. You can see they've put blue dots on the ground where those little Soarin' arrows used to be. So looking forward to that seat. I like the walls here as well, kind of a metal bottom and the glass top between us and the next party. Look at the dividers here between different parties. I like it. A closer look at this glass wall here. It's on a booster seat and it looks like it's got a seat belt buckling it in on the top. Very interesting design. I like it. Smart way to keep some distance. Just finished with Soarin' and it's close to the end of the night. 20 minutes left. Maybe we'll grab a final snack before the end. Walking by the Figment attraction. We didn't make this one today, but it'll still be there, hopefully, when we come back. Love those colors on the pyramids too. So we've got the Kahlua pork slider and the Spam hash here. Both look fantastic. We'll see. As that final treat of the evening, the Spam hash on the right, Mike's Spam hash, and my pork slider right there. So the pork slider was so saucy and greasy, it was hard to pick up. I wound up turning it into almost like a pork slider bowl. That being said, the flavors are amazing, fantastic. The pork slider has restored its former glory. As for the Spam hash, it was not bad. I could see that being maybe a lunchtime staple in Hawaii, but it's not a specialty item to go out of your way for here at Food and Wine. Overall, pork slider gets a 9, and the hash gets maybe a 6. Maybe even a 5 for the hash. It's not bad, but it's just okay. The bowl overfloweth with the traditional poutine here. Mike grabbed that while we were enjoying that Hawaii for the very last snack of the night, as the park is pretty much closed at this point. Definitely prefer the duck and feel like protein adds quite a bit to that poutine. However, it is still quite good. I want to say maybe 7 out of 10. Again, the proteins would add. If you're looking for something filling, I like that slider. Mike, poutine and hash.
I liked them. I did. Not my favorite of the festival, though. I think there are better ones, no doubt about it. When Coastal Eats opens, it's going to be even better. But not bad. Not bad at all. Prefer the duck poutine, and the hash, I prefer the Kahlua pork slider. But still a great way to end the night, despite the fact that there are better ones.
And that concludes today's adventure. Ebbs and flows of crowds, ebbs and flows of activities. Glad we had the chance to come back to the parks and enjoy it all here today. Evenings kind of strike me as the best time to be in the park, so hopefully get some more evening times in the future. What did you think of today's adventure? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay informed. And until next time, play on. Here is this pop-up. I do love the feel and the aesthetic. Don't really have. The walkways between countries can be pretty open, but now stepping into Norway, you see plenty of people.
Cover your mouth and nose when coughing.
The menu here at China, you've got chicken dumplings. So we'll say a closer look at this Pandora bus. Really nice to see all the details here. Much better in the evening here in terms of the check-in thermometers. The flan, on the other hand. The flan, on the other hand,
Safety of everyone. Please wear a face covering at all times.
walked away from the Grand Fiesta Tour. We'll see you eventually. Fluted pumpkins up here. And that concludes today's adventure. There were a lot of crowded points, but there were a lot of